You're alone in the room. Your phone vibrates. It's him. Finally. Sorry, I'm busy. You take a deep breath, swallow the disappointment. You type, "It's okay, I understand." But inside, you're bleeding. It's not the first time. You already know this script. He disappears, comes back, disappears again, and you always accept it. Why? Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is absolute silence. It's you, alone with yourself. You've tried to be alone, but the emptiness screams so loud. The walls echo questions you avoid, so you go back to any crumb that calms the desperation. But what if I told you something? That you don't accept less because of love. You accept it because you're terrified of what you'll find when the door closes. When was the last time you could be at peace, alone? This has a name. Carl Jung would call it fear of the shadow. The shadow is everything you've hidden from yourself, everything that hurts too much to look at. When you were a child, something happened. Maybe an absent father, maybe an emotionally distant mother. Maybe you learned that love is conditional. And there, in that silent moment, you decided, I can't be alone. Because alone meant abandoned. Alone meant invisible. So you grew up avoiding the emptiness, filling every silence with any presence. It doesn't matter if that presence hurts you. What matters is that it saves you from yourself. Jung said the shadow doesn't disappear. It only gets taller, darker, more frightening. And the more you run from it, the more power it has. Every bad relationship you accept is an escape. It's okay, you say when it's not. Okay is a lie to the shadow. You're not loving someone. You're running from yourself. The emptiness you feel isn't the lack of someone. It's the absence of yourself. It's the little girl who was never seen asking to be looked at. It's the woman who got lost, trying to be loved. But here's the liberating truth. You're not crazy. You're not too much trouble. You just never learned that being alone isn't the same as being abandoned. And that's exactly what keeps you trapped. Because as long as loneliness is your greatest fear, any crumb will seem like a feast. As long as you don't face your shadow, it will keep choosing for you. And it always chooses what's familiar, not what's healthy. Now pay attention to this. You don't choose unavailable men by chance. You don't attract coldness by bad luck. There's a pattern, and it's invisible to you. Think about it. How many times have you felt that knot in your stomach, that feeling that something was wrong, but you ignored it? Why? Because the pattern doesn't live in the conscious mind. It lives down there, in the layers you don't see, in the emotional memory that was never healed. You repeat the childhood dynamic without realizing it. If your father was absent, you seek distant men. If your mother was critical, you attract those who diminish you. It's not masochism, it's familiarity. The brain confuses familiar with safe, even if familiar is toxic, even if familiar is pain, because it's what you know. And here's the worst part. When someone healthy, available, consistent appears, you feel strange. He's too good. This doesn't seem real. So you sabotage or pull away or find a flaw. Because unconsciously, healthy love doesn't fit your programming. Jung called this compulsion to repeat. You don't repeat because you want to. You repeat because your psyche is trying to resolve something from the past. It believes that if you fix this cold man, you'll fix the original wound. But it never works, because the wound isn't in him. The wound is in you. And as long as you don't look at it, you'll keep attracting broken mirrors. Every time you accept less, you reinforce the belief, I don't deserve more. I'm not enough. Real love isn't for me. And the cycle continues. A different face, the same story, the same pain dressed as hope. But what if I told you that you can break this? That the pattern only works as long as you don't see it? That the repetition stops when you finally stop running? Are you ready to truly look? If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you recognized this pain. It's no coincidence this video appeared to you today. Maybe it's the sign you've been waiting for to finally understand what's happening to you. This channel exists for this. To help you see what's invisible, to give you clarity where there was only confusion, and to show you that you're not alone in this journey. Click the button right now and subscribe, because the next chapters will show you exactly how to break this cycle and find the peace you've been searching for. Now comes the part that hurts the most, because you're going to see the real cost of all this, the price you've been paying without realizing. And it's high, very high. First comes exhaustion. You're tired of pretending you're okay, tired of waiting for messages that don't come, tired of molding yourself to fit into someone's love. Every "it's okay" you say when it's not okay drains your energy. Every time you erase yourself to not bother anyone, you fade a little more. And at the end of the day, when you're alone, the tiredness isn't just physical, it's of the soul. Then comes the emptiness. A hole in your chest that nothing fills, not another relationship, not another attempt to be loved. Because here's the truth, you can be next to someone and feel completely alone. You can share a bed and sleep in the desert. You can hear, "I love you," and feel nothing. Because the emptiness isn't lack of company, it's lack of yourself. And then comes the worst of all, self-abandonment. You stopped choosing yourself so long ago, you don't even remember who you are anymore. What you like, what you dream, what you deserve. Your wants became negotiable. Your boundaries became suggestions. Your dignity became currency for a little attention. And you look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself. Jung said that when you betray yourself, the shadow grows. It feeds on every time you abandon yourself, on every time you choose the crumb instead of the full table. And the more you lose yourself, the more loneliness becomes your identity. You're not just afraid of being alone. You became the loneliness. It's no longer a feeling. It's who you believe you are. I'm the woman nobody stays with. And this belief becomes prophecy. You attract what confirms your pain. You repel what could heal you. Because unconsciously, you need the story to keep making sense. But here's what needs to be clear. This trap isn't eternal. It only works as long as you don't see it. And now, you're seeing it. Does it hurt to see this? Yes, but this is where healing begins. Not in denial, in the raw, naked truth. You lost yourself trying not to lose anyone. But the good news is, you can still find yourself. You can still choose yourself. You can still rebuild what was broken, starting from within. Now let's get to what really matters. What you can do to get out of this trap. It's not theory, it's real action. And it starts today. First action. Psychology calls this sit with emotional discomfort, tolerance. You've spent your life running from emptiness. Now, you need to face it head on. Here's how it works. When that urge comes to send a message, to reach out to someone, to fill the silence, stop. Take a deep breath. Feel the discomfort in your chest. Don't run from it. Don't turn on the TV. Don't scroll the feed. Stay there. You'll notice something incredible. The discomfort doesn't kill you. It rises, reaches its peak, and then comes down, like a wave. And every time you survive that wave without running, you become stronger. You teach your brain that being alone isn't danger, that emptiness isn't death, that you can sustain yourself. Jung said, "What you resist persists." When you stop resisting loneliness, it loses its power. It stops being a monster and becomes just a feeling that passes. Second action. You got lost along the way. Reconnect. Now it's time to find yourself again. And this requires something simple but profound. Spending time with yourself without distractions. Start small. 10 minutes a day. No phone, no music, nothing. Sit in a corner of your house and ask yourself, what do I really want? Who am I when nobody's watching? At first, it'll be strange, maybe even scary, because you spent so long being what others needed that you forgot to be you. But gradually, the answer comes. An old desire you suffocated, a dream you abandoned, a part of you that's waiting to be seen. And when you reconnect with that essence, something shifts. You stop accepting crumbs, because you finally remember what a feast is, because you start valuing yourself again. Loneliness stops being punishment and becomes opportunity. Opportunity to know yourself, to heal yourself, to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Until now, we've talked about psychology, about patterns, shadows, wounds. But now I need to tell you something that goes beyond the mind, something that touches the spirit. Because the loneliness you feel isn't just psychological, it's spiritual. There's a friend who never abandoned you. Even when you abandoned yourself, even when you chose the crumbs, he was always there, waiting for you to come back home, waiting for you to remember you were never really alone. The Bible says in Psalm 27:10, "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." Do you understand what this means? That even when everyone fails you, God doesn't fail. Even when you feel invisible to the whole world, He sees you. He always saw you. Maybe you've walked away from faith. Maybe you're angry with God. Why did He allow me to suffer so much? But what if I told you that God never wanted you to accept less? That every time you got hurt in an empty relationship, He was there, whispering, "You deserve more." The loneliness you fear so much might be the most sacred invitation you've ever received. The invitation to stop seeking outside what can only be found within. The invitation to understand that before being loved by someone, you need to feel loved by God and by yourself. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight." You know what this means? That you don't need to have all the answers, that you can trust there's a bigger plan, even when everything seems broken. God isn't asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to trust. Trust that loneliness isn't punishment, that silence isn't abandonment, that every door that closed in your life was closed by Him because He was protecting you from something that would destroy you. And now, in this moment of pain, in this emptiness you've avoided so much, God is calling you to something greater, to a version of you that doesn't accept crumbs, that doesn't get lost in relationships, that knows who you are, knows what you're worth, and that finally understands. You never needed someone to be complete. You just needed to come back home. So this is where everything meets: psychology and faith, pain and purpose, shadow and light. You don't need to choose between understanding your mind and trusting God. You need both. Jung was right when he said you carry a shadow, that you repeat patterns, that you run from emptiness. But he also knew something profound, that at the bottom of the shadow, there's light, that at the center of the wound, there's healing, and that the journey inward is also the journey to God. The loneliness you avoided so much wasn't your enemy. It was your teacher. It came to teach you something nobody else could, that you're complete even alone, that you don't need to beg for love, that your presence, alone in an empty room, is already enough. You spent years trying to fill the void with people, with relationships that only emptied you more, but now you understand. The void wasn't asking to be filled. It was asking to be felt, to be crossed, to be transformed. And when you finally stopped running, something miraculous happened. You found yourself, the girl who was abandoned, the woman who got lost, the soul that was always there, waiting for you to return. And along with you was God, never abandoning you, always waiting for you. The loneliness transformed. It stopped being terror and became peace, stopped being punishment and became sanctuary. Now, when you're alone, you don't feel desperation. You feel presence, yours and His, and that's more than any empty relationship could ever give you. You don't need to accept crumbs anymore, because now you know the feast, not the feast someone else offers, but the feast that exists within you. Dignity, worth, self-love, faith, purpose. Nobody can take that from you. That's yours. And if someday someone comes, let it be to add, not to complete, not to save, not to fill, because you don't need to be saved anymore. You already saved yourself. With God's help, you walked through the fire, and on the other side, you found the most liberating truth of all. You were always enough. You just needed to believe it. If this message made sense to you, if something inside you woke up while watching this video, then you need to subscribe to our channel right now. Because this isn't just any channel. It's a place where your pain finds clarity, where your loneliness finds purpose, and where your faith finds real application in life. Every video here was made for you who are tired of superficial answers and want to finally understand what God is trying to teach you through suffering. Subscribe now, because you deserve this transformation. And for you who made it to the end of this video, I have a spiritual promise. Write in the comments, "I deserve more." It doesn't matter if you believe it yet or not. Declare it, because when you declare with your mouth, something moves in the spirit, and God will honor that declaration. He'll start showing you your true worth. He'll close wrong doors and open right paths. He'll teach you to never accept crumbs again. Right now, I deserve more.